Hi, everyone, and welcome back for Feck Off Friday. We are so excited to be with you guys today. We've got Justin and Amanda with us, and Amanda is going to share her story and um, her experience with helping her child battle cancer, and how that is going to lead to us helping quite a few cancer patients upcoming in Ohio.
I'm
Um,
sitting here getting teary-eyed.
We've had the pleasure of meeting Amanda. It's been a couple months now, I think. And I've got the some time to like sit down with her and get to know her. And this woman, guys, she is amazing. So, Justin, I'm gonna let you take over co-host for a minute as I run backstage and get this shared out on Facebook, and I will be back with you guys here soon.
Sounds good. Yeah, this is one that really deserves to be shared. And yes, Amanda, you are a true warrior mother, as I know even more now. So thank you so much for being here and being willing to share Bryttan's story and all the work that you're doing for this movement.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm trying to
Yeah,
not
take
get in
take some
tears.
you can take some time to get prepared. I can't
Yeah,
imagine what it's like to be a parent, being what you've been through. And it's a true fight. It's a fight that only people in your situation can fully understand. But to be as successful as you have and to be taking her experience and using it to help others is truly commendable.
yeah, I think that's the thing that works me up is almost like the excitement of where this really can go with just the knowledge that's out there now outside of big pharma. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's when you really, tap into how exciting it really is that this is it truly is a groundbreaking medicine for both cancer symptoms and cancers itself. It's just, coming into the mainstream knowledge, but this is truly revolutionary in every sense of the word. And, we're all on the forefront of it in our own ways for better or worse, but we're all there.
it's crazy. It's like when you first, my daughter didn't have any symptoms of a tumor. She was hitting her collarbone and punching herself in her face, almost like Tourette's. So I was putting a kitchen towel under her shirt so she wouldn't blast herself. We started getting CBD from a place around here, and it would start to slow the ticks. Come to find out, those ticks are secondary ticks from her tumor. It's growing out of her basal ganglia, but we had no idea, So there's so many different things, but when you first find out, and you're rushed to the hospital, you've got a neurosurgeon waiting for you, get on down there, you walk in, you don't know what you're faced with, you're at the mercy of what that treatment plan is. You don't have time to look outside of the surgeries, the chemos, the radiations, the different things that they're doing, because you're now at the mercy of the hospital, which I'm not downplaying chemo. I'm not downplaying radiation. I'm not downplaying these surgeries. The surgery saved my daughter's life. She had hydrocephalus so bad. The surgery is also what brought on a whole lot of issues. But you don't think about what you can get your hands on naturally to protect yourself alongside traditional treatment, right? So when you're 18 and older, you can choose whether you want to go down the doctor's path or whether you want to do holistic. But when you've got a child and you've got CPS and state can take custody and all these things, you're in it with the medical community. But knowing about these natural things that you can do alongside to protect your healthy cells, I wish I would have known then what I know now.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
need to be
crazy.
either, especially for children, the CPS issue makes things so much more complicated. It's definitely
Uh-huh.
way more difficult to only go the cannabis route with people under 18. But yeah, I mean, getting started with, even CBD to provide those neuroprotective properties and to help counter the side effects is very powerful. And yeah, they like you were saying, they kind of run when there's a diagnosis that dire the doctors rush you into it. You feel like you don't have time to think. You just got to get going. And that's another thing that complicates things.
Yet you can't think. I mean, this is what we're doing. This is how, and I wasn't, I mean, I had known about cannabis and the power. of the plant. But when you're in it and it's your kid, you just don't start thinking about reaching out to those things. You put full faith in the medical community and they tell you, don't do this because it's not going to help you absorb, this treatment, or don't do this or don't do that. They basically want you to deplete everything so that the chemo can fully function. Well, you're depleting your entire system. You're killing out everything. Chemo can work just effectively, in my opinion, when you protect what doesn't need to be destroyed and let it hit what does, protect yourself naturally. But it's obviously not something that they spend too much time studying. We're still not there. It's still illegal.
Yeah, and
In
it's
so many ways.
thankfully, the studies are very clear preclinically that combining both THC and CBD with a wide variety of chemotherapeutic agents, as well as radiation, enhances their efficacy. So, I think there might be one study showing that there's like a mild inhibitory effect, but very, very broadly, they are shown to enhance the efficacy of those treatments. And of course, they're proven, through full scale trials, dronabinol, the synthetic THC is approved by the FDA for treating nausea associated with chemotherapy. So that's gone the whole gamut through the whole, government system.
Yeah, we've
And
got
that's
kids now that are on trials that are getting synthetic THC, which in my opinion is horrible.
it is.
Um,
It's not good.
and then they're writing prescriptions for CBD, but it's such a low strength that what are you really doing? And there are studies that are out there, on PubMed and NIH and all these different places that, until you take a step back and you've been in this for a while and you learn how to read them and you realize that they're out there right in front of your face, but not in front of your face. I
Yeah,
was
you
just
gotta
on
know where to
Facebook
look.
today on an inhibitor site, and someone was talking about how their child just got on the same combo of inhibitors, oral chemo, and their doctor had told them not to do a THC CBD combination because of the absorption of the pill. I mean, I've read more studies than I can even tell you about that tells you completely opposite. But they
Yeah, it's
can't do
literally
that.
the opposite. It
Their
increases
license is
their
on the line.
absorption and
Yeah.
not decreases it. Which can be a problem in some rare circumstances, especially with epilepsy and medications and benzodiazepines. But this as you're alluding to, like the CBD inhibiting the liver enzymes that causes the drugs to be metabolized slower and increase beyond levels that are intended. That's the main theoretical problem, but in practice, it's not really causing too many problems outside of epilepsy and benzodiazepines for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, in epilepsy, what's crazy is there's so many people on so many medications that create so many other issues outside of just controlling that seizure. When there are studies out there that there are certain strands of, THC or certain things in CBD that can get your seizures under control without all these other side effects of some meds. So it's really, especially when you're dealing with your child, you have to go through it in a lot of ways, unless you want to battle CPS. But you also need to educate yourself on a lot of things. And I got to the point that my daughter was messed up so bad, and not even in the oncology world, more after surgery in the endocrinology world. With her diabetes insipidus, and they didn't think she was creating cortisol. They thought she had Addison's disease and all these different things. And I battled and battled and battled while we were inpatient, that now I'm learning I should have spent that time that I was battling researching, because they're not going to change their mind. There's other things I should have been doing at that time instead of trying to fight with these doctors,
That's
which is
where
what it
we
is.
are hoping that people find Cancer Playbook before. Um, that way our website lists several different interventions to battle cancer naturally.
Yep.
And we want people to have that as an option. Being your own advocate is critical, um, beyond critical. So
And when
knowing
it
that there
comes
are
to your
options out
kid,
there.
people get scared to advocate because they don't want to piss the doctors off. Well, don't
Yeah.
cuss at them. Don't scream at them, don't act a fool, but that is your child. You do need to advocate. They do need to explain to you why they're doing this, that, and the other. And them just telling you, no, you can't do that. Well, can you show me some studies on why you're correct? Because I'm reading, but when you're going through it, that's not how you think.
No.
Not how you
Especially
think.
early, especially when it
Yeah.
first starts. Like once
Yeah.
you're kind of settled into the new normal, like, you can think more clearly. But the first week or two, it's very hard to do research in that state.
Now, Bryttan was diagnosed December 5th of 2020. And now, we're into 2024. And I'm like, I just wish I would have known then what I know now. And I'm finding I can't scroll through Facebook now without either seeing Frenchies or cancer families. And I spend, because that's all I look at. I'm trying to spend my time getting a hold of these families and not to be like, hey, guess what I know, because they're feeling like they're reaching out. Like, let me inform you how to protect your child.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I know and what I wish I would have known. Obviously, it's up to these parents to check every box that they feel like they need to check, and no decision is wrong. But there's so much information out there that I wish someone would have reached out to me with.
It's easier to make a decision when you have all the pieces to make a decision on.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
don't know and you just make a decision because, you only
You're in
have
fight or
this.
flight.
Yeah,
You're
you're in
just
fight or
rolling with the
yeah,
punches.
that's a real part of that is your kid just got diagnosed. Like your mental state just changed completely.
Listen, I just got out of what I feel is fight or flight, maybe October, whenever we actually found natural treatment and I started seeing my daughter come back. I mean, I was mourning a child that was still alive in so many ways. And I thought there were parts of her that weren't going to come back. We've been off chemo for a year and a half. I just thought, the neurologist said this is where she's going to be. The neurosurgeon, she recovers in 2 years. I wasn't accepting that for an answer. I wasn't accepting diabetes insipidus was life. No, there's something that's got to be out there to reset this endocrine system. And you people aren't going to help me. So I'm going to figure it out. No, this is not, she's not going to live with this cognitive deficit that surgery gave her. And I'm telling you, now she just got to start walking, which we're still battling 4 infusions, maybe 3 15-minute infusions of vincristine in February, early March of 2021.
Wow.
We're to walk.
Yeah,
So
the
that
side
really that
effects
did
of
that
these
much
medications.
damage in just 3 infusions?
3 15-minute infusions. They
That's
continued with
wild.
carboplatin. They failed her on vincristine. They continued with carboplatin. But thinking maybe if they pulled her off of the vincristine for a little bit, I took her in there in a wheelchair. I'm like, are you going to listen now? And he's like, okay, we're failing her. And then they put her on an inhibitor. And I'm really glad that they did because this inhibitor was a trial drug. And she took it less than she took it. We kept getting stable scans, and Bryttan had to, they had her diabetes insipidus messed up so bad that they had her kidneys shut down and she got kidney stones. Then we had to have a kidney stone surgery, and she looked like the Michelin Man. Kid looked like she was blown up. You could pop her with a pen. It was all water retention because they had her on so much. I'm like, I'm done. I'm backing her down. Well, you can't. Well, yes, I can. I'm going to, and found a way to keep her sodium in line. And there were just so many things that you kind of just have to take in your own hands. And that chemo inhibitor being one, she had diabetes insipidus, which deals with your hydration. Every time I would hear her cough, I knew she was going to vomit. When I hear someone cough now, it's like PTSD. Are you okay? Are you okay? I
Yeah.
knew she was going to vomit. And, there's diarrhea side effects. Well, the kids got, dehydration issues. Well, then, they had her on gabapentin. And they kept upping that dose and it would knock her out. She's so sensitive to everything. Bryttan could look at Tylenol and get every side effect
Yep.
possible. And they had her so knocked out that she couldn't drink. Well, Bryttan has to drink to stay hydrated. but surgery took away her intact thirst. Even to this day, Bryttan
Mm.
doesn't think to drink. I think at this point in time, it's a PTSD thing, but she doesn't think to drink. So while this is going on, what do? We have to do? We have to give her a G tube because she's sleeping so much from the chemo and the gabapentin. So we give her a G tube. Well, they put the wrong size G tube in. So we've got a whole situation there. So then we pull the G tube, and as it's healing, it's literally a hole in her stomach. Her food just dumped out. I mean,
Mm.
I remember my husband remembers giving her, a white powdered donut. And we had her on chemo at this time. Our doctor told us just to take her off for 48 hours and the hole would close up because it closes up naturally. And watching it, I know this sounds horrible, but just pour out of this hole of her stomach. We're bandaging her up. Finally, I went to the oncologist and I said, no, she's got to be off this more than 48 hours. He was like, well, maybe a week. We kept her off quite a few weeks. And he said, that's not what's keeping it from closing up. Well, how do you know? This is a trial medication. We went in next time and we told her, I'm pretty sure we kept her off for a good 3-4 weeks, maybe. And the oncologist was like, I've got to eat crow. You don't hear that very often,
Mm.
and it's just been a nightmare. With her story, it was like there were just so many things, and it wasn't even necessarily the cancer.
Yeah.
It's the endocrine, it's the neuropathy, it's the cognitive deficits. So, when we started
All the side
implementing
effects.
natural things, but then we were seeing stable scans. So I'm like, why are we going to keep giving this to her? I've got bags of chemo, that weren't given to her, and she's had stable scans. I'm like, okay, let's see what the next scan says. If she's growing, we'll put her back on it. Thank God we're still
Yeah.
stable, but I'm starting to see
Can
her
you
endocrine
imagine where she
systems
would
that
have been if you had given her all those drugs?
And without the cannabis, if it was only the drugs at this point, like yeah,
Like
it's rough to think.
that's a mama bear is what you just did. You mama bared your child. That you watched her, the mama in you goes, nope, I'm not gonna let this happen. We're not gonna go
I
backwards. We're not gonna get worse.
no, we're not.
You advocated.
And I was very upfront and honest with our oncologist, and I've got to say, after meeting a lot of parents, we were very blessed with the oncologist we were given. He we really were. I mean, so he kind of just let us do our thing, and now it's, we go in there and Bryttan, you're looking good every single time, and well, we're on natural treatments now, buddy. Didn't you just see a big old change since the last time you saw her a few months ago? Even her
Yep.
teacher is like, what are you doing? What are you giving her? She's different than 3 weeks ago. I'm like,
That's
well,
amazing.
this is what we're doing.
It's interesting because doctors, they'll see that turnaround, but like then they'll just treat the next patient the exact same and they won't share, what the previous patient has done that made them respond so differently and better. Like
We
that's
I
have that
what's
license.
I would say that I am seeing a slight change in that.
oh,
Um,
that's good.
I'm not saying that every doctor does, but um, we got quite a few cancer patients on the program, and they like to stay in communication about like, hey, I told my doctor this is what I'm on, this is what I'm doing. And they don't necessarily, like tell the next patient to take FECO, but they do tell them that cannabis may be an option or it may help with some side effects. I mean, they're still very much pushing their chemotherapy drugs, but it's more like, hey, it'll help with the nausea of it.
I
So it
will
like
say
introduce and has a peak.
I have seen, a lot. They're not, most of them are not opposed to it, but you have to bring it up to them.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be something that they're going to tell you where to go, how to do it, how to dose, what to add with it, what other supplements you need. I mean, that's something that you could ask my husband. I mean, there's been times where I haven't slept because I've just been living on studies, and trying to learn and share the knowledge. That way, other parents, when they're in this, oh my gosh, what do I do? Let me share with you what I know. Let me share you the links to these studies. I'm not crazy. I didn't know much about it. I had to educate myself. Here's how it works. So that's where Brit
Which
mentality comes
aligns
from. Huh?
Which aligns perfectly with what we do, which is how we've had so many conversations lately.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So, as uh, many of the viewers, if this is your first time tuning in, first hello, I do see your comments. We have some great responses. There are some very active comments in this section right now, and I'll go through some of those. But for those of it you have our regulars, you know that we have a FECO discount program here in Oklahoma. Um, and we have been helping cancer patients receive discounted FECO in exchange for just a weekly report. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know if it's helping. Um, and that is a service that we offer here. And working with Amanda, we are putting together a team in Ohio to be able to do that same thing. And this is how you use your story. This is, you give back to the community. You help. Amanda's going to be helping in throw in her, her story, her advice, things that tips and tricks that she's learned, as well as helping organize with different processors and dispensaries and growers out in Ohio. So if you are in Ohio, specifically right now, a processor, we're looking for processor in Ohio. Please reach out to us if you have a care to help be part of something very large, this cancer program that helps hundreds of cancer patients.
Very profoundly.
Yeah.
Makes a huge life-saving difference in many, many cases.
Yeah.
Oh,
As
yeah.
well as the data that we collect is anonymously collected and stored into a shared database under Whole Health Oncology, which that we have some exciting updates on that here soon. But those stories are collected and they are analyzed and they are used, and key points of data are pulled out to help the next cancer patient get a better understanding of what another cancer patient used that was successful, allowing that patient to have all the information to make the decisions that are in their best interest when trying to battle cancer. So that is stories like this all get collected and we use them for a greater good. And it is incredibly rewarding, I will say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
I love talking to, and it's not even pediatric. Like, obviously, I talk to a lot of parents, but just anyone in general. I mean, it's the same across the board, how it works. I love educating people now. Like, I'll get on the phone and I've probably paced, holes in my floor, just getting so excited and talking to people and just helping them understand there's such a stigma with a lot of things, and helping them understand, no, we're not telling you to go roll a joint and go smoke it. Like, we're using this for, medicinal ways. And there's different ways to do it. And there's this system in your body that you don't know about. I've talked to RNs lately that don't even know about it. They don't teach it because, the government's got it under
That's
lock
a
and
feck
key.
off
And I'm like,
moment. Feck off.
what the heck is going on?
Why do they only spend a couple hours teaching on the endocannabinoid system? I don't.
If anything,
that is
really.
mind baffling. Yeah.
It's like, how is your body supposed to work if it's not effectively using everything that God gave it, And then, a lot of people want to start, I've had some religious conversations or this or that or the other, and I'm like, you can't get any closer to God. God put this here. He didn't put big pharma here. He didn't put the government here. He put this plant and all of its resources here. Use it. The government stigmatized it.
It's
Like,
a
let it
treasure,
do what it's supposed to
treasure.
do.
I grew up in private Catholic schools where cannabis was incredibly stigmatized, if not just straight out told it was a sin. So whenever I have been battling for many years stage 4 endometriosis, and although it is not a cancer diagnosis, it does mimic a lot of the characteristics of cancer. and I had growths and masses, and I had multiple surgeries and in and out of hospitals, sick, sepsis infections for years. And a friend of mine sat me down and told me all the medical benefits of cannabis, and I thought they were crazy. Like seriously, I thought they were crazy. Um, and I had a surgery. It was on a holiday weekend. Couldn't get a hold of my doctor to get any pain meds, and I finally just caved and was like, I can't take the pain any longer. At that time, it was just smoke. So I was like, yeah, I'd like to smoke with you. This was before the industry became the industry, like right before. Um, and the amount of relief I felt was crazy. So as you know, I'm starting to like to research, and then as the industry became the industry here, I had stumbled on Safeco, and my life I went from bedridden, completely sick, no quality of life to I am able to be up, moving. I was walking. I was walking more than I'd ever walked in my life. Like you'd see, there's some days I was walking 7 miles because I felt that good. It was like you can do this still. You're not dying anymore. Um, Once that happened for me, the whole stigma went away. And that's what for many years, that's what I pushed was like destigmatizing cannabis. Like I very much believe and say that God brought me to cannabis. God led my path right here. If God had told me his mission for my life when I was younger, I'd have laughed in his face.
Yep. I
But
told
he
Bryttan,
brought me to where we're at.
I told Bryttan the other day, I said, we're very blessed that things have played out the way that it has, and it's led us here, and we can help people. And, I hate that you have neuropathy, and I hate that we're going through this. But if you wouldn't have failed chemo, we wouldn't have found the inhibitors. I wouldn't have had it in my hands on what was really going to happen with you. We wouldn't have been, where we are. And it doesn't work that way for everyone, but we were just very blessed. Now we need to do something with it, and we need to give back, and it is, like I said, it is different when you're a parent. These kids don't have the rights. And I do know a mom though that just straight up took CPS on, and her kid never had to go through chemo, but she's someone you don't play with. So, there are those possibilities, but when you get in situations like us and you're already locked in that hospital, things are a little different. So there's just so many things that I can't wait to share and do and educate depending on, what people's situation is. They're all different,
Yeah. Every
so
cancer is different. Even
it
if you've
is.
got the same cancer as somebody else, your cancer is still very much different. It is very much unique to your body.
Yeah. I mean, and so is treatment. I know kids that are rolling through Ben Christine. Look at my daughter. It's
Yeah.
just it's not the same. And the problem is, we would be in there and they'd say, Bryttan writes her own book. Bryttan writes her own book. You can't treat the patients the same. Well, protocol is.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah. That protocol
Where do
is
you
that
really
every
stand?
cancer, didn't we just say every cancer is different? So there should not be a
I mean,
standard
my kid is
protocol like
showing
it needs
signs
to
of
be.
remission after 6 treatments, but you're telling me we got to do 2 years because protocol is like, which is it?
Yeah.
Which it's crazy. But that brought us to Bryttan's Battalion. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
our way of giving back and helping. And I told Bryttan, I said, I'll go to my grave trying. We're gonna we're gonna try to do something with this. And if anybody knows me, I'm pretty headstrong and have a tendency to get what I want. So,
Do you want to,
what I want is to help change the world.
right? Do you want to talk a little bit about the event you have coming up?
Which one?
Yeah.
The golf outing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, I'm so excited about this
Yeah.
one. It's got me overwhelmed and stressed out, but I have on our board, they're all golfers. So they've kind of helped us here. But so we've got a golf outing coming up on Friday, June 21st. I know it's on a Friday and we're hearing a lot of kickback on that, but here I am. I see it as you've got plenty of time to put in a vacation day. Come on, you got a 3-day weekend, right? So we are looking for just monetary sponsors. You can do it as a business or personally, $100 to sponsor a hole. We are going to have some of our warriors there. We're going to have some of our warrior pictures there to honor them. We are looking for raffle items. If you golf, even if you're not great, come on out. We'll have a little nice little surprise for you when you get there. I don't want to advertise it, so sign up. You'll find
That
out.
makes it even more exciting.
Huh?
It
What'd you
makes it
say?
even more exciting, the
That's
surprise.
right. That's
Come
right.
on out to
So
this.
yeah, we're just looking for vendors and some sponsorships. And what Bryttan's Battalion does is we are going to obviously help fund research so these kids can stop living this life. They're our future. They shouldn't be the ones we drop the ball on, and they're getting the ball dropped left and right on their treatment and the standard of care. So we definitely are going to help in those ways, but we also help families. We've helped a few families now. We're new and up and going, but we've gone through it. And there's a lot of families that are out there that when you go to your hospital, you'll get help with things if you're in active treatment, but then when your kid's not in active treatment, you can't get any help. Well, I'm a real estate agent and I haven't done real estate really since Bryttan got diagnosed because I was so focused on her. But as soon as she wasn't on active treatment, and I needed help, there was no one there to help. So, we're kind of just there for the cancer families in any way that we can help, whether it's paying bills, whether it's helping with Christmas, whether it's, helping get therapy and counseling for PTSD because it's a thing.
That's a thing. That's a real
Um,
thing.
my husband had to turn the alarm off on the microwave, it dings when it gets done because I just hear IVs still to this day. I'm like, get the microwave. He's like, I'm going to turn that off. So, it's a thing. And what you will find if you've been going through this a while with your kid, and someone said this and it couldn't be more true. It's like, as they get better, you get worse as a parent. So everything's starting to hit me now. So I know I'm like, we just have to help. We have to help these parents. We have to help these families, these siblings. So we've got a lot of things coming up. But that golf tournament, I'm super excited about. It's our first one. Hoping to blow it out of the water.
I'm hoping you do too. I think it'd be a
Yeah,
great one. I
I
think it'd be
will.
a great one.
We'll make sure of it.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
between the
It,
golf and the disc golf, it's like a whole golf
it,
family here.
it makes perfect sense to me what you just said like a minute ago. Whenever your child gets better, the parent gets worse. That makes perfect sense to me
Hits you.
because, you're coming out of fight or flight at that point and your body's had so many hormones in that you're now starting to come down off of these hormones, and hormones will jack your body up.
Oh man. Oh man. Went to this hormone cottage and had my hormones tested, and I'm like, I nothing's working the way that it should. And everything just hits you. You get you get waves of just out of nowhere. What the heck is going on? I'm having a great time, and then boom.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So we're there for the parents and the families too.
Yep. Yep. I'm reading some comments over here. Our audience is very much agreeing with this. Going into rest and digest mode from fight or flight mode for years is hard. Body breaks down, mind breaks down, etc. It's so much.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been some really good comments in this section. I didn't want to interrupt your story to tell them, but you've got a lot of support in this comment section. And that's what we're looking to provide to everybody is support, a chance to see some hope. Knowing that talking to another survivor and knowing that somebody else made it through the battle that you made it through can make the difference for the cancer patient fighting. It absolutely can.
You
That
definitely feel alone, when
yeah.
you're going through it. It's crazy. It's like when your kid's in the hospital and they're hooked up to things and people know it, got everybody there, right? Everybody's doing GoFundMe's or doing this or doing that. And then when you're showing your kid getting better, not necessarily in the hospital, or you're just at home going through it, you're just so alone. So I try to reach out to those families or at least let them know, like, reach out to me. I know how it feels. We've been going through it for over 3 years. There's times where you're not showing the horrible pictures that they feel like everything is fine at home. That's not the case. It's not the
Yeah.
case. You're still going through it with all the side effects, with everything that comes along with it, with everything that comes along with being a parent and hoping you're making the right decisions.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with a handbook.
That's true. Doesn't come with a handbook.
No,
That
it
is a very
doesn't.
true statement.
But
Yeah.
one day it'll come with a playbook, hopefully. That's what
Yes.
we're working on.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on. Yep.
Heck
Patient
yeah.
reported outcomes plus research equals patient reported outcomes. I
That's
mean,
Equals
right.
playbook.
playbooks equals playbooks.
That is right. Yeah. I feel like I'm just ready to like reach out to the world and how can I help?
Yep. Amanda's
You
gonna
know,
be knocking on some doors soon
that's
and
right. Get
pushing some
all fed up
people.
with these Ohio producers. If y'all are on here, you hear me. I will be knocking on your door.
Yeah, just give a little bit back to the patients. Like, you don't got to break the bank, but, these people really, really need help
Yeah.
desperately.
It's so expensive and insurance doesn't cover it.
Yeah, 30
And
to 50
Yeah.
dollars a gram for Fecco. I mean, people, it might as well be illegal, honestly.
I mean, and you're
For some
taking one or
people at
two
least.
grams a day, depending.
Exactly.
And then you've got all your other supplements and all your other, doctor's visits. It's insane. So getting this at a
50% of
discounted rate.
bankruptcies are medical bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't
Yeah.
ask anybody to do anything for free either. I mean, they can if they want to, but if you're a producer who's wanting to get involved, we do sit down and negotiate like costs and like you don't.
I was just telling
Like,
Justin, I'm about to go to the growers. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start on both ends because I just feel so passionate about people being able to, and look, there's no guarantee in life, right? You can't guarantee that anything's going to cure this or cure that, but quality of life is huge,
Yes.
huge. If for
Yeah.
no other reason, make yourself feel better. Let these people feel better. Help them feel better. It's huge. I'm watching it work on my daughter.
So
She's losing it.
I got to watch that. I lost my best friend to cancer, and she did do chemo and radiation, and at one point in time her kidney was like almost exploding, and the doctor kind of looked at her and was like, you should be like screaming in pain, like you should be like really really in pain right now, what are you doing? She said, I'm taking a gram a day of Fecco, and it's helping, and it was helping with some of the inflammation, it was battling some of the things, but when you pump that much chemo and radiation and medications into your body, it's going to do what it does. Like the the Fecco's only going to do what it could do versus, you're adding stuff to it. So, but it did seriously increase the quality of her life. She was able to still eat. She was able to not feel all of the pain that comes with kidney failure from chemo and radiation. And it was a big deal. The increased quality of life, she got to enjoy a little bit of the last time. Not be screaming in pain. That is huge. That in itself is a victory.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
To be able to
If for
go out
no
on your
other
own
reason,
terms.
I just wanted Bryttan to stop. I mean, her neuropathy, and the pain that she was feeling. And then that leads to she's not going to get up and walk. And then that leads to, oh, we've lost so much muscle. And then, we've got the tightness. So we had to go through the casting. It's like something, we got to get rid of this patient. She doesn't even want to walk. She doesn't want to
Yeah.
get up. I'm tired of this wheelchair. I hate this wheelchair. It's got to go, like we got to do
Yep.
something. So, there's stuff out there. I don't know why it's so easy to, someone has a degree hanging on their wall and someone wears a white coat. It's so easy to listen to them, but it's crazy to think about doing things naturally.
Yeah.
And people don't want to give it a chance. Me and my husband watched this show, and it had this oncologist guy on there, and he was, he's got long dreads and he's all laid back. He's more in the holistic field, and he's like, I want you to do X, Y, and Z and enjoy your day, whatever the natural treatments was that he was giving her for her case. And she started crying and was like, but my other doctor said all this stuff, right? So he's like, hold on. He walked out and he comes back in and he had on a white coat and a prescription pad and wrote down exactly what he had just told her and handed it to her. And she started smiling and was like, okay, I'm going to do it. What?
It's all about the
Yeah.
presentation.
He was like, and she's alive to tell the story. It's really, really crazy. I'm not saying anything against the medical field, but I think that, you know, people really need to, like you said, be your own advocate, look into things. See if there's going to be side effects from what you're going on. And if they are they manageable, or are you going to have to take something else to combat that side effect that's going to put you here, that's going to put you there? Or can we just do some natural things to, kind of help
The
us
most
out?
common story that I think we hear from people who have done chemo is that the side effects, they, I have heard many stories where people regret doing the chemo, because of the side effects. The things that they never had dealt with before in their entire life, never imagined, and had they not done the chemo, their cancer would not have given them those symptoms.
Now,
The
Bryttan,
cancer would not have given them those symptoms.
that's right. So Bryttan, obviously, she had hydrocephalus to the severe degree, which was what was causing her to punch herself. And so she obviously had to have that craniotomy. But and that is what brought on a lot of other symptoms. But when we're talking about just the cancer symptoms here, if we would have had a choice with a minor, there's no way I would have done chemo with her. First of all, the type of chemo that she was on, come to find out, now that I've done my own research, did not cross the blood-brain barrier.
That's wild that they were even giving
Didn't.
that. Like,
And I've watched other stories where people have gone in and talked to their oncologist about these exact chemos, and their kids had brain tumors, and they're like, that's not going to do anything. I'm like, wait a minute. So my daughter's not walking two
wow.
years later. And I'm not, and my oncologist, it's not his fault. That's standard of care. That's outside
Yeah.
that,
So how did it
she has
become
to fail
standard of
that before we
care?
could get true treatment, because it was in trials. It's just the way the system works. But if I could have done it, I don't regret the surgery. We had to do it. I hate that things came of it, but we were in such a dire situation that had to come. But man, if I could have just done FECO and CBD and some of the other things, she wouldn't be dealing with the chemo brain, and her fingers wouldn't have been drawn. Bryttan was like this. Legs were I mean, it took forever to be able to straighten. She couldn't feed herself. She couldn't sit herself up. I mean, at some point in time, it was physically almost like a vegetative state there for a while. So it was a whole lot of physical therapy, having people come here. I mean, just having Bryttan be able to sit herself up. We were having to roll on her side, and that's all from chemo, from neuropathy. I mean, these kids shouldn't have to, no one should have to go through this, but I'm coming at it as a parent.
Yeah.
So watch your kid, and know that at that point in time, I didn't think there was anything I could do.
Yeah. Yep.
Now I wish I would have known then what I know now again. But I guess I just want all these parents to know that there are things you can do to help with these side effects. If you have to go through treatment, protect those kids.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I know.
Yep.
Reach out.
Yep. Well,
So
you are an absolutely amazing mother, Amanda. I know that had to have been the hardest battle of your entire life. Um,
I right now, I personally, I've blacked out a lot of it. I'm not real good on my time frames. I'm not real. It's slowly starting to come back. And like I said, this is where I'm getting worse as she's getting better. There's some things I don't want to remember, and I try not to remember, but at the same time, I have to make myself remember. Or how are we going to be able to help give kids what they need? With
yeah.
Bryttan's Battalion, I got to remember this. I got to know. I got to face it head on. And I'm really trying to not, fall down that rabbit hole of depression, but talking to the other moms that I've met going through this and jumping into this program and really jumping into Bryttan's battalion and just that I think that's what's keeping me from going down that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, helping others is a therapy in itself.
It
I was gonna
is.
say you'll be
Definitely.
surprised, like as hard, and I fully understand what you're saying. As hard as it is to use this story, the more that it is used, the more healing you're gonna have
Yep.
over it. Yeah.
There's still a lot that went on with her that I just can't bring myself to talk about or think about. But, you know, and whether it's Bryttan or whether it's another cancer mom, whether, I know a mom who has got this gorgeous daughter. She's, in high school. She got diagnosed when she was a while ago, and she had a full resection, never had to have treatment. And every time they come around that year-round scan, I asked her, does this ever get easier? Because I get anxiety. I mean, I'm not sleeping for days thinking about putting her through that MRI machine. What are we going to find out? And got my husband talking me off a ledge every time. And she's like, it doesn't get easier. We're years out. She never had treatment, but we're still always scared every time there's any kind of symptom or she gets sick, it's, is it, it doesn't get easier. So I've got to find a way to, help these parents go through what I'm going through too. Like I said, there's easier stories and there's harder stories and we lose some kids, but regardless, just someone looking at you in your eye and saying, your kid has cancer.
Yeah.
I
I can't even imagine what those
I
words
am
would feel like.
no longer the person I was.
Yeah.
If you knew me before today, you don't know me now. You better get to know me again.
Yep. I can
It's,
imagine that.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And I've seen the side of you after that. I didn't know you beforehand, but I've seen the side of you after that, and I can tell that you were a huge advocate. You definitely went through this. Like not just like you know, you were in the thick of this and you have pulled incredible information out, resources out. There you do have a lot of benefit to other patients that are going through this for sure. Um,
Yep. I'm just hoping, to really get this foundation up and going. And, we've lost some kids that we know, especially recently. And I asked Bryttan, I said, is this something you really want to do? Because I've never really thought about when I'm talking about this foundation. She's still sitting there with cancer. And we know a lot of DIPG kids that we have seen lose, and that's another one that hits really close to me. Like, this has got to stop. It's all got to stop. Like, where's the answer? And I asked her, I said, and she was like, yes, we're doing this. I want to help every kid out there like
That's
me. And I'm
awesome.
like, all right, kid, well, you know, let's do it. So we just need our support. And we've got it. We've got it. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot
yeah.
to talk about and get out there. But I've talked to other foundation moms and, I was talking to one of them the other day and I said, how do you do when people tell you no? She was like, I don't take that. She was like, my daughter deserved that and so does yours. And, I got into it with the Stanley Cup people the other day and they wanted to say because of their production, they couldn't donate a cup to the golf tournament. And I'm like, whoa, it's people like you concerned about money. It's got my kid where she's at. Well, I was like,
She's
don't
like, I'm
tell
letting
me
everybody
no.
have it.
I'm sorry. I'm an only child and I'm a cancer mom. Don't talk to me like that. I don't understand how it works.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
We are about out of time. Um, this has been a fantastic conversation. Your last comment made me tear up, and I steadily
Oh,
have tears coming down my face again.
Oh, buddy.
When when your child becomes a warrior at a very young age and is ready to advocate for other kids, you know that they went through something very severe. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I can only imagine what that child's going to be doing in life. Um,
Yep.
yep.
yeah, her journey is
Yep.
just beginning.
Yep.
That's
We
right.
see adults come together all the time who have been through this, but there's not very many children that come to the table and it's like, hey, I went through this and I want to help another kid going through this. Like not we're gonna do something, like we're gonna do something now. That is,
She got a lot of her mama in her
you got a
too. She
mountain
wants
moving
everything
child.
now.
Yeah, it's like you've got a mountain moving child for sure.
Yep, we
Well, the
do.
other kids need it now, so that's the right
Yeah.
perspective to have.
Well, she came up with the tagline. I said, "What's our tagline for our foundation?" She goes, "You need to give kids what they need." She got mad. She slammed her hand down. And I was like, "That's it.
That's awesome.
That's
That's
it."
awesome. Yep.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was fun.
Absolutely. It was fun. Your story is incredible. And, like I said, I've been getting to know you better. So I appreciate working with you. I'm beyond excited about all the new stuff we have coming up, and we will have updates on that. We are
Yep.
putting together the launch for Ohio, and
Yep.
we will
It's
have
gonna be fun.
updates here soon. Yes, I'm very excited. For everybody who's watching, if you or a loved one has cancer, please visit cancerplaybook.org. We would love to share resources with you, some education, some data on what other cancer patients use to help, what other interventions they use to help, diet, exercise, supplements, removing toxins,
Yep.
frequency,
Big. Gotta
cannabis.
detox. Yep.
Yeah, there's several different things. We'd love to be in contact with you. Everybody who's in the comment section, thank you. Your guys' conversations in the comment section has been amazing today. We will jump on and reply to you guys.
Go like
Just
Bryttan's Battalion on Facebook.
Yeah, go like Britton's
Yeah,
Battalion
yeah,
on
yeah. I'm
Facebook
glad
for
that
sure.
wasn't forgotten to get plugged.
Go
Gotta make the
make
most of these viewers.
go make a donation and sponsor a hole. Found Britain's
Awesome.
Battalion. Yep,
We'd
that's what we'd
appreciate
love
it.
you to do. Um, all right, well,
Great. Have a good
thank you
Friday.
guys,
Great
and
Yeah.
one.
please like, share, comment if you don't, fuck
All right. See ya.
off.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.